hop out the wheel like a fence. I 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 wanna move like a Jackson. I hop out the wheel like a fence. I hop out the wheel like a fence. I hop out the wheel like a fence. I strip the door like a latch. Boy, I'm a fiend out of heaven. I just wanna give me a mess. It live at the top of the planet.
Yo, welcome back to Classic Conversation.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on today? We got a special guest, Jason Aldredge. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm just maintaining, man. You know, thankful that I'm breathing and I got my liberties.
I heard that. Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. And
No
we're
doubt.
gonna dive right into it. Give us a little background because we know you work with the kids, but you also had a life before that, and you know how one intertwined with the other, and how do you get to where you at now, the way you in the community, and you know you giving the kids game and giving them, providing them information on how to make a better life.
Well, I'm originally from Los Angeles, born and raised. Former gang member. You know, I used to be a Crip. In and out of juvenile hall, California Youth Authorities.
I picked the right shirt then, didn't I?
Yeah, he was a little younger than me. I didn't know him, but my people knew him, but I didn't know him though. But he's a little younger. But in and out of jail, man. YA, juvenile hall, prisons. You know, I was like a jailbird, man. I might be on the streets no more than maybe like a couple of months, and then I'm back in jail. I never was really lucky. Yeah, I was never really lucky at crime. Every time I did something, out of the two, I was the one getting caught. Yeah, facts. You know, so you know, I spent a lot of my growing up behind California Department of Corrections. You know, California Youth Authorities and California Juvenile System. So that's kind of like what raised me. You know, I was in the streets, but you know, I kept getting snatched up. Every time I get out, might be out for like 5 months, I'm back in. Get out, back in. And then as I got older, I started doing like some serious time. You know, I ended up doing 8 years, and I ended up doing 18 months, and I ended up doing 13 months. Say that again?
I just said, wow.
Yeah. So, but while I was in jail, I wasn't learning nothing. You know, I was gang banging and smoking weed and getting tattoos and trying to have sex with the female officers and, you know, just doing a lot of just nonsense. I didn't go in there trying to get my GED or trying to read the Bible or none of that. I didn't follow religion. I was straight thugging. So my mentality was still on nothing while I was in California prisons. So I messed around and ended up doing 8 years, and I paroled in 2004. And when I got out, I still had the mind frame of, you know, a cat from the streets, someone who didn't care about nothing, someone who was like really a vagabond, was like wasted time. And so when I got out, I got caught back up in the streets. You know, a couple of my homeboys ended up getting killed, and you know, I ended up getting caught up in a war, and I ended up getting caught up in all type of like madness, man. So I ended up getting locked up again. And when I got locked up again, they gave me a parole violation. So while I was in, my mom had already came to Atlanta, Georgia, like while I had did my 8 years. Her and her friend moved out here, and she liked it. You know, it's the South, it's a little slower, you know, and she was telling me that I should come to Atlanta when I get out because it's a little bit more slower and it's a lot more opportunities for Blacks. So when I say slower, meaning that it's like a fresh start for me. Right. Don't nobody know me. The gang culture at that time, 2005 and 6, it wasn't prevalent in Atlanta, Georgia. So she was like, "Come out here." But so I was like, "All right, whatever." So when I got out, that's what I did. I ended up transferring my parole to Atlanta, and when I transferred my parole to Atlanta, I came, but I still had the mind frame that I had when I was in LA. Yeah. So I wasn't full of nobody but myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come out here and get a job and go to school and, you know, all type of old crazy stuff. And I, you know, I was really faking the phone. And so I ended up hooking up with cats out because, you know, it's a lot of dudes in Atlanta from LA.
Right.
So I started running into cats from LA that I knew. And then I started, and I had came out here during the time of the Katrina. So it was a lot of dudes from New Orleans out here, and it was a lot of bloodshed going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of robbing, a lot of flexing. And so I ended up connecting and hooking up with the cats from New Orleans. And so we was robbing, man. We was going around kicking in doors. We was robbing, doing a lot of things, man. And I ended up catching a murder charge in 2008. And when I caught that murder charge, that's what gave me my life sentence in prison. But the backtrack, I came out here in 2006. So when I came out here in 2006, I got a job. I met a good woman. Things was going smooth, but you know, the money wasn't right. You know, I'm seeing cats pulling up in Escalade trucks and walking around with big diamond chains, and it was like, man, yeah, stuff that you don't see in LA. So I'm looking like, damn. So I'm seeing, and these dudes walking around, I'm talking about like heavy chains, heavy pockets.
Oh yeah.
And so I started thinking strange, but then I started seeing how the weed was out here. Like, you know, these cats is paying $1,000 for some bid. You know, these cats is paying $5,000 for perk. So I started dabbling in the weed, bringing it back from LA out here, you know. But then as time went on, I started hooking up with the cats from New Orleans, and they were taking. And when they was hitting licks, it was like 100, 200,000 at a time, 80,000. And I'm like, damn, and it was like taking candy from a baby, man. A lot of them dudes that was walking around with money in their pockets, gold chain, they didn't even have no gun on them. So I started hooking up with them, and I started robbing. And from robbing, I ended up catching a murder. And from catching a murder, I went back to California on the run. So when I was in California, the day Obama won the elections, my homeboy called me in Atlanta. They were like, hey, man, I got a lick for 200,000. I'm like, you bullshit. He like, yeah. So my dumb ass come back to Atlanta, Georgia. I come back to Atlanta, Georgia, and I met him at a club that we go to every day. Granted, and granted that it's police officers that work the security at the door.
Right.
So when I go there, one of the police officers noticed me, and I got a warrant out for my arrest for murder. So when I go inside the club, like 10 minutes later, about 15 cops come up in there. And he said, hey, man, I hate to do this, but you got a warrant out for your arrest for murder. And they surrounded me. And I already knew, and I didn't fight her. I mean, for what, man? I was in VIP. It was only one way out. It was 15 of them, and they surrounded me. And I had a pistol. Yeah, I'm going to lose. And I had a pistol on me.
Oh, so,
yeah. So, but I'm sitting at the table. My homeboy that I was meeting for the lick, he's sitting across from me. So I kind of like pulled the gun out because I always carried compact guns, small black compact guns. So I kind of slid it out, and I slid it to him under the table, and he grabbed it. And so when I got up, they cuffed me up, walked me out, and I ended up going to the Cobb County Jail for malice murder. And I sat in the county jail for 3 years, and I went to trial, and I lost, and they gave me life in 20.
Wow.
I had an attorney that just graduated from law school, and I was his first case, and he didn't expose that to me. The judge that was trying my case was a district attorney, and she just got elected as a judge, and I was her first trial. Dang. So here it is, man. So here it is. I got a judge that was just a DA a month ago, and I'm her first trial. And then I have an attorney that just graduated from law school, ain't never tried no case, and then he takes mine as a murder case.
Ain't nothing in your favor. You ain't got nothing in your favor going in there.
Man, hey, listen, man, I ain't got nothing. My attorney didn't know how to present exhibits, evidence as an exhibit. And nothing. Look, it got so bad to where the DA was looking at my attorney trying to show him how to present an exhibit into evidence. He didn't know how to do none of that. So even like when I was going to like the holding cell for breaks, the sheriff's like, man, where the hell you find this dude at? This is what they telling me. And I'm like, man, listen to cats in jail, and they like, man, I know this dude, and I hired him, and he come, hey, he's black man with the bow tie, and all this black upliftment and I got you. And he never revealed that I was his first trial. Never. So
Wow.
I ended up getting found guilty, and they gave me life in 20. But in the midst of my trial, the judge threatened to call a mistrial 3 times because my attorney was doing a lot of crazy stuff, man. He was cussing in the trial. He kept running in the restroom in the middle of him examining a witness, all type of stuff, man. And we looking like, what the hell is this dude doing?
Man, what type of time are they on?
Exactly. So I messed around and got found guilty, and they sent me to prison. I went to one of the worstest prisons in Georgia, which is Telfair State Prison. And when I got there, I'm from out of town. I'm from LA, so a lot of the cats in the South, in different areas of Georgia. Now I'm dealing with cats from everywhere in Georgia. Savannah, Albany, Macon, Milledgeville, everywhere. Right. So when
they probably was already clicked up in there though, when you first got there though, right?
Yeah, they was clicked up. They was clicked up. The Bloods was real heavy. Right. They was a menace. You had the Crips up in there, the GDs, the Goodfellas. You had the gangs up in there. So when I hit the compound, I'm a big nigga, So one thing about Georgia State Prison, you will be tested. I don't care who you are, how big you are, you will be tested. And based on how you react is going to base on how your time is going to go. So when I got there, I was tested, and I performed viciously. And when I performed viciously, that I rode that reputation. It wasn't like I had to keep going and going and going. Once I established the business, I was able to ride that.
Right.
And for me riding that rep, I was able to be me. Go to the law library, go to school, get my GED. Now I'm doing the stuff that I wasn't doing when I was in California prison. So I ended up hiring a trial appeals attorney by the name of Thomas Clegg. And he used to be a DA in DeKalb County back when Sidney Dorsey went to jail. Sidney Dorsey was the head sheriff in DeKalb County, and he lost. And he ended up putting the hit on the sheriff that won. So he brought me back to the county jail, and he told me, he said, man, this case is weak. He said, I would have beat it. If you knew me during trial, I would have beat it. He says, what do you want me to do? I said, I want the life off. Because I did it. And I don't want to keep playing games and like, oh, I didn't do it, or I could beat these folks, or I could try to squeeze through a crack. I just said, man, I want to get the life off. Right. So we went back. So he subpoenaed the judge. And when he subpoenaed the judge, the reason why he subpoenaed the judge is because the judge was going to call a mistrial. She threatened to call a mistrial 3 times based on my attorney's performance. Right. So my appeals attorney was saying, we're saying that he needs a new trial based on ineffective assistance of counsel. And we're saying that you acknowledge that his attorney wasn't no good because you was going to call a mistrial. Right. So she said, never mind. You ain't got to call me on the bench. She said, never mind. You don't have to file a motion for me to testify. Actual defendant, would he take 20 years? And so he came to the county jail like, hey, man, she willing to take the life off the table and just give you 20 years. I said, run it. Wow. I took the 20 years, man. So,
but 20 is still a long time to look at, too, though.
Yes, it is, right?
But you wouldn't have to do the whole 20 though, right? Pending certain things like good behavior.
No.
Was the 20 with the possibility of parole?
The 20 was a possibility of parole. The 20 years was 20 years straight.
Yeesh. But it's still some time to look at.
But it's better than life though.
It's definitely better than life now.
Definitely that. Definitely.
So I looked at it like, if I get 20 years, I'm gonna work my mojo and I'll be able to get out at 15, 10. That's what I'm looking at.
Right.
So when I got back down the road with the 20 years, that's what my counselor said. He was like, look, take all these programs, do what you got to do. And in like 12 to 15 years, you will be out. And that's what I did, man. I utilized my jail cell as Penn State University. I utilized my jail cell as LA Fitness. Instead of me looking at the jail cell for what it was, I utilized the time wisely. And I got my GED. I got all the self-help groups that they had in prison, like MRT, Thinking for a Change, Reentry, the Lifers Group, any program that the prison offered, I was there. I was there.
You basically hopped on this time what you should have done all those other times. You finally went ahead and done it. Just go around.
But one thing I know in life, when your back is against the wall, you would do anything to try to get out of that situation. And my back was against the wall, man. I had all this time. And at the same time, bro, you know, it's like I'm getting older, homie.
Right.
So I got to start taking my life serious, homie. I'm getting older, bro. And so I started utilizing the time right because I wanted to get out as soon as possible. And in Georgia, it's about what you do and who you know.
Absolutely.
You know, in the South, you know, in California, everything is manual. They go by the book. In the South, I've noticed that if you get in good with a warden, you get in good with who this or that, man, you will be home or you'll be at the governor's mansion in a heartbeat. So it's who you know, who you rub shoulders with. So I use my charm, my brains to start educating myself and to start getting up under people that have power. Like I started working for the deputy wardens. I started working for the wardens. I will volunteer my time in medical. Wherever I could go volunteer my time at, I was doing that to the point to where the staff looked at me like a modeled inmate.
Right. And it changed your living arrangement probably while you was in there.
No, so I stayed in the jungle. But I was working in the pit house. So it was times where they wanted to move me in my living situation better, but in them living situations, that's better. It'd be a lot of telling going on. It'd be a lot going on. So I had a cell phone. I was hustling. So I wanted to stay where the gorillas and the thugs is at because cats ain't telling like that. I didn't want to go to the honor dorm because you go to the honor dorm, it be stuff that
you can't do nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, you can't do nothing.
So I was doing my thing, bro. So that's why I always wanted to stay in dorms where it was going down at.
Well, even all of the good things you was involved in, once you decided to get involved in the organizations, that still also allow you to better do your time, right? So I mean, it take your focus off where you're at for a little bit, and it helps you not only in the long run, but it helps your mentality while you're there.
So I started my organization in prison. Okay. So basically,
what
like
organization
I was saying,
was that?
Compromising choices.
Compromising
choices is what I started while I was in prison, and what happened is I was sitting in the day room, man, watching TV, and I broke down and cried, bro. And I didn't know what was going on, and then I had got a call, and they said my brother got killed. And I was like, damn. So I realized like one day I gotta die, homie. Absolutely. All this time I was living, man, I didn't think about death until my brother got killed. And I realized that I don't care who you are, man, you're gonna die one day. And so that what made me start taking my life serious, bro. I started going to Ashley University online. I got my GED. I started being a youth counselor, meaning like I was like a mediator. Like anytime gangs would get into it, I had a relationship with a lot of the gang leaders, so I would go speak to them to try to squash the situation. You know, I was a GED teacher, and I was helping young dudes get their GED. When the COVID hit, a lot of dudes was catching COVID, bro, and they was putting them in these cells like castaways, and even nurses didn't even want to go in there and get these folks medication or nothing. I strapped up and I went in there. I was cleaning up. I was feeding them, giving them their medication. I was doing all that, bro. And it worked in the long haul because I'm out 5 years early on my time. Like my time, I'm supposed to be out in 2028. You know,
Dang.
But all the work that I put in and all the stuff that I did while I was in prison, as far as just rehabilitating and navigating and changing my agenda, it helped, you know, to get me out early, bro. But I started, but let me get back to the compromising choices. So I started teaching GED. I started being like a mediator for the gang members. You know, I couldn't stop everything, but I stopped about 65% of stuff, you know, that happened in the dorm or the yard, because I had relationships with like head bloods and GDs and vice lords and Mexicans. I had a relationship with these dudes. And so I would come to them and try to squash it. And it was times where a blood might owe some GDs $50. I'll pay it just to squash it, because in Georgia, $50 will turn into like 8 cats getting stabbed up, man.
Right.
Literally, like literally, bro. So I would pay it because I'm hustling. I'm getting money. You know, I'll be like, all right, man, I'll pay it just to squash it. And so one night I was in my room and I said, every day you wake up, you got to make choices, good or bad. All my life, I've compromised my livelihood. And I looked up compromising, and compromising means taking a risk. And I've always took risk in my life, making choices. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to start something called Compromising Choices. And then I started writing the 12-step program and how I visualize it, what I want to do and how I want to do it. And once I did it, I had a Muslim brother by the name of Elijah. He proofread it. He critiqued it for me. And then I rewrote it again, and I presented it to the warden. And so the warden gave me an hour every Friday night in the chapel. And so I would have young dudes come in there. At first, he wanted to pick the people that would come in there. So all the people that he picked to come in there to do my class was people that don't get in trouble.
Right. Honor their own people.
Yeah. So I told them they don't need it. I said, what I'm trying to give is the ones who's going to the hole, the ones who's getting in trouble. So he was like, oh man, if you know your class is at night, if I send these dudes in here, you don't have no supervision. Because it was to the point to where he didn't even let me have any supervision. Like sometimes when you have these classes, it has to be an officer there. He let me have the classes without an officer there. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, can we change my class Friday morning when officers are like in the building? And he said, bet. And I ran my class, man, and it was successful. It stopped a lot of stabbings. A lot of young cats that was gangbanging was getting their GEDs. Man, it just did a 180, bro. Like shit to start changing at this particular prison I was at, which is called Calhoun. And so once they see that, he was like, I want to send you to Lee State Prison. Lee State Prison is an evidence-based program where I could get certified to become an evidence-based mentor. So I went there and I took the course and I became an evidence-based mentor. And that sharpened my tools more on how to approach people, how sometimes to sit and listen, how to, you know, break the ice, you know, how to have discernment over things and be able to try to analyze things in a more professional way. And so when I took the class and graduated, right after I graduated, maybe like 3 weeks later, I went to the halfway house. So, you know, I was happy about that. But when I went to the halfway house, I was doing what I was doing in prison at the halfway house. Mentoring, talking to the young dudes. Like it might be a young cat, he at the halfway house. And when you go, so like in Georgia, when you go to the halfway house, you're locked up still. Right. But you're able to go to work. They're called transitional centers. So I would tell them like, bro, and you got 3 months left to the crib. Why you keep having your girl come to work, bro? You never know when the officers will pull up to watch and be paying attention, and they in the parking lot to see if y'all hopping in cars and stuff. 3 months ain't nothing, bro.
Then
You can do all
back up.
Man, if they catch you going back to prison, bro. Listen. You can have all the sex you want in 90 days, bro. Like you ain't got no type of self-discipline, my dude. So
you done waited 3 years already. You might well wait 3 months.
So this is the stuff that I was telling the young dudes at the center. A lot of times they would get angry at the officers because the officers might be real petty compared to like if we was in prison. But like I told them, I said, bro, we not in prison. We in a transitional center, bro. We transitioning about to go back to society, bro. Swallow that shit, man. Swallow that, bro. Be humble, bro. Don't be so quick to get mad because they said no, bro. Because if you acting like that, you coming right back. Absolutely. And that's just being real. And I would break it down like that to them, man. And so the superintendent of the transitional center, she was watching and hearing the stuff that I was doing. So she asked me to basically, you know, so the area that I was living in was like a work dorm. She moved me from the work dorm and moved me into the orientation dorm. So when you leave prison and go to the transitional center, you have to wear a jumpsuit and you have to stay in the building for 30 days. And if you could pass that 30 days without getting in trouble, people can send you regular clothes and you can get a job. So a lot of the young men that was in the jumpsuit, they was in the jumpsuit for months because they kept getting in trouble, dirty urines, not taking their classes, all type of stuff. So she like, look, can I move you over there with them so you could try to kind of like, you know, clean it up? And some cats say, well, damn, you doing a police job. Nah, nigga, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to help young black men become better. I'm trying to get black men out in society to become builders of their community. Right. I don't never want to see nobody with cuffs or locked up at all. I don't wish jail on my worst enemy. So at the end of the day, if I can go in there and I could be a leader by example and verbally, I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the cats that was getting denied jobs because they kept getting in trouble, 30 days and went by, they in trouble. They go into classification. They coming back with smiles because they family can send them a package now with clothes. They able to get a job. They able to stack some money. You know what I'm saying? They feel good. So I'm like, that stuff feel good, don't it? So they start seeing like, okay, like this ain't that bad. You know, you got to get over the hump. But once you get over the hump, things start riding smooth for you. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
So one day they just pulled up on me and said, hey, man, you paroling. And I'm like, bad. So my girl pulled up, picked me up. So when I got out, like the next day, man, I went straight to a high school. And I told the principal who I was and what I was trying to do. And she opened up the door for me.
Straight out of the halfway house, you went straight to the school?
Man, straight the next day. The day I got out like 9 in the morning. I went straight to the bank, opened up a bank account. I left with about a good 28 grand. I deposited that in my bank account. I went straight to the car dealership, got a car the same day. I got all this in the same day. I already got a job because I had a job at the transitional center, so I kept it when I got out. I was working for Cisco. It's like a big distributed food company. I was making $25 an hour, so I already had the job, so I didn't have to look for no job. And the same day I got out, I opened up a bank account, and I got a car. I had a place to stay because I moved in with my girl. You follow what I'm saying? So, you know, everything was lined up that same day. So that next day, and I already had my driver's license because I got my driver's license while I was in the transitional center. So I had everything lined up, man. Everything was just on point, man. And so the next day I went to the high school, and I pitched my speech, and the principal felt it, and she said, well, look, I'm gonna let you start coming to the cafeteria during lunch, and I'm gonna let you get familiar with the students. And so that's what I started doing. But what happened is that I was working 6 days a week at Cisco. I'm going to work at 5 at night. I'm not getting off until like 8 in the morning. So it was taking a lot out of me.
Right.
But I was still putting in the work. I'm going to juvenile halls. I'm going to like conferences. And as I'm driving, I'm nodding off at the wheel. No sleep. I gotta roll the windows down, blast my music. I'm shaking my head to try to keep myself up. And so an organization, which is called Offender Alumni Association, which is based out in Birmingham, Alabama, approached me. And they was like, look, man, we have an organization called Offender Alumni. It's based in Birmingham, but we have an office here in Atlanta. And the lady, Miss Daniels, she's born and raised in Birmingham. Her whole crew is in Birmingham, but she opened up a space here. She was like, can we pay you to go speak at some of our seminars? So I started doing it. And then they got a contract with Cure Violence. Cure Violence is a global evidence-based program. It started in Chicago. And so when they was able to get trained by them, they got a grant for like 2.5 million. And now they was able to hire people. And so Miss Daniels approached me and said, hey, you want a job? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, how much they paid? And she told me, and it was nothing close to what I was getting paid at Cisco, but it paid the bills. And I knew that this could be my platform to create my platform, which is Compromising Choices. So I went. I left Cisco. So now I have more free time. I have more flexible time. And now I'm doing what I love to do and get paid. And so that's how I was able to get on with compromise with a Cure Violence OAA.
Dang, boy, you got a hell of a story, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So what, like, the crazy part is, even like when you got out, because a lot of people will do the work while they in because they want to get out early, right? But what was your mindset that even when you got out, you were like, nah, I know this for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you could have just did what you was doing in prison. You could have did what you was doing in the halfway house to help black people out to make sure they didn't get back. And then when you got out, you could have did what you wanted to do. But what made you stick with it?
Man, we losing, bro. We losing, bro. You know, there's not that many local leaders in these communities, bro, that's really wanting to help these young cats and really tell the truth. I look at brothers like Martin Luther King, man, and brothers like Charles Hamilton Houston, and brothers like Malcolm X. These brothers was young when they died, bro. Yeah. And they put their life on the line for a bigger cause, man. And it's like, bro, like black folks have been through hell, man. And then we turn around and we put each other through hell, man. And I'm like, something gotta give, homie. Something gotta give, man. You know, these big homies is using these young dudes as crash dummies. You know, they come out here and they telling these young dudes about all the money that they was getting. They telling these young dudes about all the people they had killed. But they ain't telling a young homie that they did this for 5 years. They got millions of dollars for these many years, but they have to serve 30 years behind that. Exactly. They not telling them that part. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got cats, man, that, you know, these young dudes, they're not thinking for themselves, man. And I just feel like it's my job to show them something different. Okay, they know the bad side of it, but let me tell you what go on after you get caught up and go to jail. Let me tell you what go on after you get caught up and you tell, and now you off the side of your community. Let me tell you what go on when you come up and you get that sack of your homies hating on you. And they feel like you ain't supposed to have that money because you ain't no real cat, or you ain't down, or you ain't put in enough work. So now they plotting to rob and kill you. Or they hating on you because you got a nice female or a nice car, and now they walking around with their lip poked out. All this stuff go on amongst your community, amongst your homies, bro. So let me show you what goes on, because you're seeing the glamour, the glitz, the big cars, the diamond rings and all that, but you're not seeing the other side. And ain't nobody telling you this. So let me tell you, let me show you too. Let me let you talk to homies. They got 3 life sentences, bro, all in the name of getting to the money. Right. And they ain't got a coin, you know?
Man, that dope is what you're doing, man. I mean, the other side, it definitely, it don't equal up. At the end of the day, you know, all that glitz and glamour, and you know, it's good to have, but it's a better. You also can have that in doing walking right. You can have the glitz and the glamour by doing the right thing. You ain't necessarily got to be, you know, doing the negative stuff to get the glitz and the glamour away. So if they know that, a lot of you guys don't know that. They think they know one way, right? We come up in the hood. We all came up pretty rough in some rough parts of town. Like gang culture was heavy in high school where we was too, and it was kind of rural, but like the gang culture was was on a smaller scale, maybe than LA, but definitely there, right? A lot of times these kids don't know that the ways could be different, and you also have those things. It's slower now, mind you. It's real slow, so I think that turned a lot of them away. Also, with going down the right path, but it's still attainable, doing it the right way. But I think you letting them know that that side of it will lean them towards doing it the right way. Not to say you can't have it, young fella, but you still can get it. But it's a slower route, but it's the route that has less risk. Like you get to live your life. You don't get to do 30 years or get killed. And sometimes you're lucky to get to 30 years. Sometimes, you ain't making it to that.
But even with the slow money, I always have a motto: all money's not good money.
Absolutely.
And these young black kids are creative, man. They just don't know it, man. They come out with these different hairstyles. They come out with these different clothes styles, these different dances, music. They athletic as hell. Here it is. You've been running for the cops, man. You leaped over a 6-foot fence. You did a backflip. So let's try to see if we can put you in some sports, man.
Right.
You going around here knocking cats out, man. Your hand is two of mine. Let's put you in the ring, bro. Let's bring these talents out, man. You could draw, man. Let's see if you could, be an architect. Let's start bringing these talents out into these young men and women instead of trying to put a dope sack in their head, trying to put a gun in their head, trying to glamorize the streets, bro. Because at the end of the day, I tell these dudes about the gangs, homie. Man, the gangs ain't. I'm born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, bro. If a blood cut in my neighborhood and kill one of my homies, we gonna go back full force. But if the police kill us, we ain't doing nothing. So all I'm saying is we picking and choosing our battles. So apparently we scared of something. We respected something. So don't sit up here and say that this is ride or die a killer, but when some more killers come through, you don't do nothing. When some more killers come through and cuff you up and put you in a jail cell and strip you butt naked and make you turn around and spread your butt cheeks to see if you got some contraband in your butt, and you do it without no fight, without no problem. Don't sit up here and get mad because a cat want to go to school or a cat want to do right with his life. Man, miss me with that, man. All these killers and gorillas walking around here, but these dudes come over to your neighborhood and they take you to jail and they belittle you and they degrade you and you don't do nothing. But if a dude walk around and step on your shoes, you want to take his head off. Man, mix me with that tough stuff, man.
Yeah.
That ain't game.
Mix me.
Right.
Mix me, man.
Right. And that's embedded deep in our culture too, bro. Like it's embedded real deep. It's crazy to me to see that,
What is it with us though? Like, what is it with
our
culture that we don't want to see the next man get it or the next man be good? Because it's a few words like us. All us, we ain't like that. But it's like I don't know if it go back to slavery mentality and they did it so bad and separated us against each other. But it's crazy that you don't want to see the next man win. Like, bro, I want to see you win. Like all my homeboys, I want to see them win. Like, I'm happy when they win. Like, man, when did that become a bad thing to see your partner win?
Not just win, bro. Like, in some cases, you don't want to see the next man live. Like, it's that brutal. It's been that brutal in our society, bro. Like you said about the shoes, right? How you figure a guy owed me his life for dirtying up my shoes? And I probably got 50 pairs of shoes at the house. So it don't make sense to me.
And many Clorox wipes that they selling around here, bro, just wipe them off.
Hey, but dig this, homie. In the 20s, in the 30s,
oh yeah,
the prison system was packed with white folks. Blacks wasn't going to prison in the 20s and 30s. In the 20s and 30s, when Jim Crow was over with, and you had black communities, man, you had a lot of husband and wives in the home. You had a lot of black folks going to jobs, going to work. Poverty wasn't stricken like that, homie. It wasn't until people started educating themselves and wanting to move out of these communities into the suburbs. And that's when the communities start deteriorating. You say, why is black folks like it? Because we don't have a balance. If you go to a lot of these hoods, you don't see no doctors in there. You don't see no lawyers. You don't see no dentists. You don't see no entrepreneurs. All you see in the hoods is pimps, hustlers, killers, dope thieves, hookers. So that's all. So that's all the young dudes and young women have to see is that. They don't have the other side, workers, firefighters, doctors. They don't live in that neighborhood. They live in the suburbs. So these kids don't have a balance. You have to give them a balance so they can pick and choose which way they want to go in life. But we're creatures of habit. We learn as we go, and we start off at home. The home is like the streets, man. Yeah. You go into a lot of these young dudes' house. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, you said we learn at home, and that's another area that we, it's kind of a sore spot for the community. In a lot of these cases, we don't have a great family structure to go on. Also, like you got a lot of so.
Man, the big mamas, listen, man. Hey, listen, the big mamas are dead and gone, bro. The big mamas are dead and gone, bro. And so there's nobody to hold them households. Man, out here in Atlanta, I work in one of the roughest areas in Atlanta. It's called Zone 1. A lot of the homes I go in, man, they look just like the streets, bro. Nasty, dirty, roaches everywhere, rats, kids dirty, ain't showered in days, hungry, hair everywhere, smelling like urine. And this is how the young cats living. This is how the young women living, bro. But you're going to sit up and say, well, it starts at home. Man, the home is the streets.
Exactly. The home screwed up. You can't get nothing out of the home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right. It's not a great structure there to see it firsthand to where you want to transition that to when you go outside of that, like in a lot of cases. Not saying it's not great. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think like you said, we got to start reaching back. I mean, everybody reach one, teach one. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to start reaching back and pulling some of these young kids along to show them that it's something different. Because that's just like us. Where we grew up from, like, if I wanted to just happen to go see what college was and how much fun you could have and see what you could get into at college, I probably wouldn't have went. I ain't know nothing about it. So, I mean, I get 100% what you're saying. If we don't show them nothing different, they going to stay with they customers seeing.
Exactly. You got to show them something different, bro. These kids in these neighborhoods, I'm talking about hoods, infested with gangs, dope, killing and robbing. They don't have no balance, bro. They don't have nothing else to look at.
So how do we do that? Like, how do we transition them from? How do we even show them that it's something different? Like, what's the process?
Well, let's start with like what he's doing, like what he's representing. It starts there. Like that's a great start. Like mentoring, like the foundation that you're involved with. Like that's the great start right there. Like we got.
Yeah, but you gotta stick with it though. You gotta be there every day. See, you gotta understand this. This is a disease, man, that has been plagued us for decades, bro. So this ain't no I come give you an eloquent speech once a week or once a month. No, you gotta be in that neighborhood. You gotta be in them trenches every day with them. And a lot of people are not willing to do that.
Yeah,
definitely.
A lot of people, definitely not. A lot of people say, "Man, I got my own family I got to worry about. I have a job I got to work. I got this. They're not willing to be in them trenches every day with it. That's true. Wrestling with it, sleeping with it. They not willing to do it. They not willing to move back into them trenches. Here it is. You got a house in the suburbs in the gated community, or we just gonna say a decent community. You not willing to move back to your neighborhood.
Right.
No, I ain't doing that.
But that's what I'm saying. So how do you expect your neighborhood to grow if there's nothing positive living there?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's
gonna be very difficult. Yeah.
Ain't no change to be shown
at all. So all the babies, the third graders, the fourth graders, the fifth graders, they don't see nothing but negativity. So that's what they're gonna gravitate to. And then you're gonna always have an exception. So you're gonna always have that half few that might not go that way and they become successful. But the majority is gonna gravitate to selling weed, smoking weed, selling dope, smoking dope, pimping, robbing, looking at women as hoes and bitches.
Yeah.
Toting pistols. Everybody got a gun in the hood, so hey, I gotta have me a gun too. Everybody gonna be on the same thing. It's gonna be on some. It's a saying: monkey see, monkey do. That's a true statement, bro. Yeah. Everybody mimicking what they see.
Yeah, that's true. We are creatures of habit. I will agree with that. Also, I mean,
and you just said I'm not gonna do that. When I say you gotta move back to your neighborhood, you said I'm not gonna. So it's a lot of people that think like that, bro. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but if you're willing, if you're saying how do we change this, somebody with some sense got to move back to the neighborhood.
Right. So I was saying that mostly in general. I was fortunate enough. I seen a lot of bad, like say in school, mostly gangs and stuff. But I didn't grow up in the projects or nothing. So that's I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, like in general, most people aren't doing that. But I think the people that got the will to talk and start organizations like the ones you're involved with, I think those people are headed in the right direction. Now it's going to take more than that. It's not no one trick pony. It's going to take way more than just a few people moving back and giving back. It's going to take us as a collective. When I say that, the culture, like we got to help each other. And I know we don't really do that as a culture. I mean, that's just what it is. We want to be the one with the biggest chain or the most money. I mean, I don't know where they come from. I mean, maybe we do have some PTSD from the terms of our ancestors. I don't know. But what I'm saying is enough of us don't do that. But even the ones that are doing it, that's a step in the right direction. It's going to take definitely more than that. No doubt about it. But I don't think it's a clear answer to say what's going to actually give us that turn and that shift to where we are back to where we care about each other. And I ain't got to slap you because, hey, go pull this to the OG. You know what I'm saying? We got to get back. I don't know what's going to take us to get back there, but definitely the work that you're doing, that type of work is a start, like the mentoring and like the getting involved. That's a start.
So you know what got us there, right? Is being infested in negativity over the decades, right? Just festering ourselves in negativity, being around and listening to it, watching it on TV. TV plays a role. I didn't start sipping Alizé and Hennessy until Tupac started screaming it. I didn't start doing certain things until I started seeing Simo and Brother Lynch and them doing and saying what they saying on a rap song. So social media, music plays a major role in a lot of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So absolutely. we have to filter that too. But what I'm saying is when we have more black men and women that are educated, that come from the hood, that have changed their narrative, and they're willing to come back and they're willing to be there every day, and they're able to work and they're able to tussle and wrestle and gain the respect from them youngsters. And once you gain that respect, you're willing to show them a different route. It'll never change, bro. You talk about big change, man. If you look back at our great grandma, they wasn't rocking like that, man. They had their little stuff going on, but it wasn't as it is now. You know what I'm saying? Because they had a balance. They had people going to church. They had pastors living in the neighborhood. They had school teachers living in the neighborhood. In black communities back then in the 50s and 60s, you had a mixture of everything. You had hustlers, but then you had school teachers, bro. You had drug dealers, but then you had the milkman. You had a balance, bro. Ain't no balances in these hoods, man.
It's just hood. It's just hood.
It's just hood. It's just hood, bro. If you look at the statistics, man, how many black people are in prison now compared to back in the 50s and the 60s, man, it's crazy. If you look at a lot of neighborhoods that looked at one way in the 40s and the 50s compared to how it looks now, man, it's crazy. Man, there was so many black-owned businesses in black communities back then. Now we don't own nothing. You have so many great grandmas and grandmas that owned them homes, but guess what? They have died off. And guess what? Their kids have sold the homes or they have got loans from the home, and now they can't. The homes is gone. You know, like these are homes that's been here since the 40s. Families, generations have lived up in here. Gone. Come on, man. Come on, man. If you go over there in Martin Luther King community right now, man, that neighborhood didn't look like how it looked now back then. No, it did not, man. You had again, you always have the exception. So you had areas over there that it might have been a little gambling and hustling going on, and some weed smoking and whatever, a little prostitution here and there. But it wasn't the ghetto like it is today, bro. Yeah. It was a balance, man. It was a balance, bro. A lot of black pastors
took a turn.
Hell yeah. Everybody moved out. Everybody moved out. I told my boss, right? She's over a Fender alumni. She's born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I said, "Do you still live in yours?" She's like, "Hell no." She moved, but then when she told me though, But I'm saying though, when she moved, wherever she moved, but she don't live where she grew up at. But where she grew up at is messed up.
And that's the thing though. I think and I get it, but it's like after you make it through there, I think it's like you said, do you weigh the risk of going back and living it? Now I definitely think you should go, you gotta go back and try to provide what you can provide and teach who you can teach in the neighborhood. Absolutely. Reach back, not even just in your neighborhood, but a neighborhood that you're around. Because I ain't in the close to the neighborhood that I grew up in, right? You know what I'm saying? But I got neighborhoods that's around me that I can still do the same thing. But I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna hold you. Me moving into the neighborhood, yes, but that's some pressure.
So then why not do this? Why not do this? Why not go to your neighborhood every day and politic with your homies, politic with the young cats, get to know your young homies, earn their respect. A lot of times we feel like because we the big homie, they supposed to respect us. Man, they don't know you. So at the end of the day,
I think that takes a special person though to go back, right? That's not everybody. Everybody can't wear that crown right there. So the people that do, I think they're different people. Now, especially if you going back, like if you from the trenches, like if you ain't got no status in the hood or had no status, just say a school teacher, right? She make it out. She do well for herself. She get a couple degrees. She moved to that well-to-do suburb. She ain't going back over there because the risk is too great for her, right? So she don't have no street status. She don't have nothing to that she can ride on when she go back to that neighborhood. She probably best serve that neighborhood by donating or getting an organization going to set up and get ran. But like her being there every day with her boots on the ground, that's gonna be very difficult for somebody like that in a situation like that. And I think that's most people in general.
So guess what? The school teacher that come up in the trenches, she could go back and tutor. She could go back and teach. She could go back to the high school that she grew up in and be a school teacher there.
Right. So no, what I'm saying is though, that risk is too great, right? So if the hood is still the hood, right? She got these services she can offer. Right? That's true. But what I'm saying, she's risking. Look what she's risking though. So these areas, the hood, well, all hoods, they're usually associated with crime, right? Which we all agree that most hoods are kind of, they're usually higher on crime.
Facts.
So what I'm saying is she risking that part of it. She has something to offer them, but maybe she could better serve the community by starting the school or putting the money. If she's depending on how well off she is, maybe she can start the school or open up the foundation to get them. That's also contributing versus her being there physically on ground zero.
Okay, so you said a lady that grew up in the neighborhood and she moved out and she's a school teacher, right? So I'm not saying she got to move back to the neighborhood, but why she can't teach at the school she come from? Because I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of the school teachers in these neighborhoods are overworked. So a lot of them want to do the work. A lot of them teaching is trash. So when you got a teacher like that that's educated, she comes from this neighborhood. Why she can't go and teach over there?
Right. I ain't hear you said the main one though. They're mostly underpaid also. So her neighborhood, neighborhood, she probably can't. It's probably worse.
It's crazy. It's kind of like what my that's
so that we don't.
That's kind of like what my mom did. That's what my mom, like my mom. She was a school teacher, retired school teacher, but she would tutor all the kids, in the neighborhood if they needed it. She would tutor the kids and get them help work in the neighborhood. Like she always gave back. So I get what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't physically have to live there, but whatever you can do to give back to them. So and the more you do that, that's how you gain their respect.
But guess what though? So if they're underpaid, she's a school teacher, she work in the suburb, she making $70,000 a year. If she was to go back to her neighborhood and work at the high school over there, she might get $9,000. Okay, that's a big difference. But then we don't need to hear your complaining then about why these neighborhoods ain't changing, because you ain't willing to do nothing about it. So shut up.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Right.
we tired of hearing people complaining. I'm tired of hearing about people complaining. If you complaining, then do something about it.
Right.
If you ain't do something about it, then shut up.
Right.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Because I know plenty of I know plenty. Look, I'm gonna give you a prime example, man. It's on everything I love, bro. The neighborhood I work in is one of the worst neighborhoods over there in Atlanta. One of the worst, no, not one, the worst. I promise you, bro.
The worst.
The worst. I promise you. Zone 1, English Avenue, Vine City, Washington Park, the worst. You have a church, a Presbyterian church, nothing but white people. In the trenches, they bought a church building. They turned it into a school. They bought the ran down apartment building that's been sitting there for years, and none of the drug dealers and none of the major players bought it and rebuilt it. They bought it, they cleaned it up, and they put people in them apartments that's from that community. We walk by the white girls and the white dudes walk up and down that street with black kids. They do it all the time, man. This is what's going on right now in Atlanta, bro. A group of white people, man, in the trenches. They live in the trenches. But we, people that's born and raised over there, we afraid to go over there and move in our own community, man. That's crazy, man. If you think I'm lying, bro, you could go there, right? You go to English. It's the neighborhood called English Avenue. The name of the neighborhood is called The Bluff. You ever see that TV show Snow in the Bluff, that movie Snow in the Bluff?
I know exactly. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Listen, man. You got a Presbyterian church of white people over there right now that live over there, putting in work. And this ain't even a neighborhood. These folks come from Iowa, Indiana. These folks come from all around the world, and these folks live in that neighborhood right now. All them apartments and homes that have been abandoned for decades, them folks buying that stuff up and they remodeling it and they moving people back into them houses that are black, that are from that community. Affordable rent, affordable housing. This is what these white folks is doing, bro. They're in the middle of the street showing these black kids how to play soccer in the hood. But you mean to tell me the school teacher that moved out the neighborhood, she's scared of, she's that petrified she can't come back to her neighborhood? And you got these white folks over there right now, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. But we always want to talk about these white men. Come on, man. That's crazy, bro. That don't make no sense. This is what's going on right now. Look, bro. I'm in that neighborhood every day. Every day, bro. I'm walking around, I'm riding around, I'm politicking. Them folks is over there, bro. And it is crazy, but I can't do nothing but salute them.
Because they working.
Because they put in the work, they making a difference. But we can't do it though. The ones that's from over there that made it out, we can't do it though.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's
and those folks don't have no problems. I asked the white lady, the supervisor, said, are you afraid? She said, oh, heavens no. She says, don't nobody bother us, you know. That's what she said. She said, heavens no. Right.
I think
so.
I definitely think you. I think you're right, bro. Like I can't even hold you. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta start giving back to our community. We gotta start putting in the work. That even myself, I know I don't put in the work as much as I should. You know what I'm saying? But you absolutely right. Like the youngsters need to see somebody that's doing something other than gang banging and selling dope and pimping. You know what I'm saying? They need to see it's a different way to do it. And like you say, they got so much access that we didn't have, and they so talented that man, they can make it out without even doing that. But sometimes I think they just need the map. They need a direction on how to do it.
Man, listen, man. Why we not pumping the money back into the neighborhood? Why we not pumping the money back into the neighborhood? Why we not opening up businesses to employ people in the hood? Everybody keeps screaming jobs. Why we not creating jobs, man?
We should be. We should be.
Man, look what these folks doing, bro. Look what these folks doing, homie. It's crazy. These white folks, am I saying it right? Presbyterian, they're Christians. Let me just say that these white Christians are doing it. The cost of living in Atlanta has risen, especially in the Bluff, because it's like right there by the city, right there by Mercedes-Benz. These folks is buying these homes, right? That has been abandoned for years. They're cleaning them up, and people that are from that neighborhood, they're putting them back into these homes with affordable housing. They're not putting white folks in these homes. They're not putting white folks in these homes. They're not putting Asians. They're putting black folks back into these homes that's from these neighborhoods, and they're giving them affordable housing to where their mortgage is affordable for them to pay.
That's something any black person could have done.
Yeah. What any black person from Atlanta that got millions, because you got a lot of cats from Atlanta with millions that could buy them homes, clean them up, and put people up in them.
Absolutely.
But they ain't doing it, bro. Not in that community. I can't speak about any other community. I'm talking about where I work at. This is what I'm seeing with my own eye.
Right.
These folks is doing this, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everybody definitely. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chief.
No, I just was saying, man, I definitely agree on all the points you make. I mean, everybody should play, everybody plays a part. And if you're not gonna do anything, then no, you ain't got the right to sit back and complain. But I think we can do more, and we should be doing more. Right. Just be quiet. So Jason, what would you have people take from you? Like, if you had to leave us with something, like, what would how would you sum it up for us right now, for us the youth concerned?
Man, the youth need us, man. A lot of these young kids are dealing with mental health. A lot of these young kids are dealing with an identity crisis. A lot of these young kids don't know where to go. Left, right, backwards, forwards. They're just going, bro. They need help, man. They need help, bro. I deal with them a lot, man. I deal with them every day, man, and they messed up, bro. And it takes brothers and sisters with a conscience, with some type of common sense to get out there. Really, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be rough, but it ain't difficult. It ain't impossible, man. If you really love this, if you really love your community, bro, man, you will get out there and you'll wrestle with them, bro. You'll get out there and you tussle all these penitentiary chances. All these penitentiary chances we have made by selling drugs, walking around with these pistols, walking around here beefing with cats, gangbanging. Why we can't do it for the good now? I'm just saying, man. Why we can't do it for the good, man? But I lived a reckless life. Now I'm living a reckless life for what's good. So they say you have a dangerous job. Well, hell, I've been living dangerous all my life. So at least while I'm living dangerous, I can be out here helping these kids instead of destroying these kids.
Right. That's facts. Big facts.
Facts.
All right. So on that note, we're going to close it out. And how we close out our show every time is motivation for the week. You got to give your motivation for the week. So you being the guest, you started off. What's your motivation for people this week? What's going to get you motivated, and what should they look forward to motivate them?
What's going to get me motivated is seeing the smiles on these young kids' face. And what should get you motivated is respecting life and having empathy for life, man.
Facts. That.
I echo that sentiment. This have respect and show empathy for life.
Okay. I think mine gonna be like you said, let's do what's right this week. Let's stop all the negativity, all the hating on each other, all the if you step on my shoe, you owe me my life, like you saying. Let's help somebody, you know what I'm saying, and be positive. No negativity this week. Keep all the negativity out this week. Somebody come around you with some negative stuff, just walk away and just tell them you ain't got time for it. Let's keep all the negativity mentality out. And that's how we gonna move this week. So Jason, I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Man, I appreciate you. Let everybody know where they can find the association, the foundation, how they can, I guess, contribute to it. Let everybody know what they need to do to get involved with you.
For sure. All right, so you could reach me at compromisingchoices@gmail.com. My Instagram and my Facebook is Compromising Choices. You can reach me at 404-567-0104. You can contribute financially, or you can contribute verbally with some wisdom, with some encouraging words, with some good ideas. I need it. It's wanted because I'm out here, man. I'm out here in these streets. How we call it, we going hard in the paint. That's what I'm doing, man. But I'm going hard to pay for God, and I'm going hard to pay for these black folks, man. And just not black folks, man, because you got white kids struggling, Asian kids struggling. Any kid, man, that's going through trials and error, turmoil, man, I'm there, man. I'm there. 10 toes down, man. So get with me, man.
All right, bet. And on that note, we out. Classic conversation.
Big bucks, I make it rain, deal. Big bucks, they stunning like they wealthy. Lying all in they selfie. That shit is sick and unhealthy. That shit is sick and unhealthy. Say I fell off, my God. Won't believe where I landed. In the midst of millions, I see ya out here stranded. Talented plus arrogant. I'm the boss of the game, I'm the new management. Got the world in my hand, I can handle it. I'm dripping like wax, keep the candle lit. Oh, you got a big head, I wear a big crown. On fire, cause I'm lit now. No marathon, but I run this town. Diamonds in my 2 chain, dancing like Chris Brown.